color to it. Yeah,
Light.
look at that.
Where are we today?
Oh, we are at Infamous Brewing Company, and this is in Hudson Bend area, right next to Lake Travis and real close to Lake Austin. 78734.
Beer you have there?
This is a Hudson Oktoberfest beer. They brew this here, and I think it's got a.
See this one?
That is a. Was it a peanut butter stout?
No, it's a pumpkin coffee chocolate peanut butter stout, and
that's a lot going on. Yeah, how many they had? How many beers they had? They had about, I'd probably say 12, at least 12 beers they have rotating through.
Oh yeah.
Later on in the show, we're going to go back there with the owner, Josh, and take a look at the background of kind of how they brew and what makes Infamous infamous. You know, for today's show, we're going to talk about how's the market.
But what does that mean when someone says, how's the market?
Well, usually when you meet a real estate agent, that's the first thing you say, or a broker, hey, how's the market? It's usually a topic of conversation or just a polite greeting. Sometimes they're curious, sometimes they're just being polite. If you're curious about the market, we're talking about the real estate market, and we're talking about, hey, what opportunities? Is it a buyer's market? Is it a seller's market? Where do you think things are going? Should I wait? Will things drop? You know, we've heard things on a national level. What's it like on a local level? So it really encompasses pricing and strategy. Interest rates can fall into that as well. So we're going to anticipate some rates going up
The next year?
in the next year. We're seeing rates consistently around 2.75 to upper twos. We're going to start seeing rates kind of creep up into the low threes to 3.25 in 2022. Still a 40-year low when it comes to rates. You know, a 50-year low.
Yeah.
So the rates are incredibly insane. The first time I bought a house, I was at 8.75%. I think it was 8.75, and I was thrilled because rates were at 10%, and this was a while back. Yeah, I'm getting older. You can see it on my beard. Whoops. The Austin market. You know, what we saw in 2021 was a response to kind of pent-up demand, and we saw an insane, like Mach 5 market where the beginning of 2020, or the end of 2020 into 2021, we saw 34% increase in prices kind of across the board. Low inventory, less than 1%, and even lower than that in some areas. All that right there created what I call a new floor. And so what happened is just our median market, median price came up. And it came up because many people moving here to Austin, both international, COVID, a lot of people can work and transfer here to Austin and work from home. So a lot of West Coast buyers, people up in higher market areas, sold their house, capitalized on the dollar volume or the dollar that they made from that and bought here in Austin. So it was a perfect storm for the prices just to increase. We do not anticipate that to slow down in 2022. What we will say is that 34% price increase is not going to happen in 2022. We've already seen that step into a new median price point. So it's going to be a healthy seller's market still. The inventory is still low. We still have plenty of buyers coming into town. So it's a good market for sellers. It's a challenging market for buyers. The interest rates keep things very competitive out there for buyers if they want to get in the market. And so one of the questions when they ask, well, how's the market? The next question after that is, do you think we're in a bubble? Last time we saw that kind of analogy was back in 2008. And the conditions were so much different back then than they are now. And so when someone asks me, hey, do you think we're in a bubble? My answer is no. And the reason why we're not in a bubble, because the conditions are completely different. The lending institution and the things that they put in place in 2008 until now, it's eliminating a lot of the stated income loans and the people buying houses based on what they thought they were going to make in the future. And the other simple bottom line truth is there's just not enough homes. There was plenty of homes, it was an oversaturated a market of homes. Now there's very few homes out there on the market. And so supply and demand comes into play where you have a low supply, high demand, and that equals a seller's market. So when you have a seller's market, your price tends to be stronger in that type of market, and the seller has control, versus a buyer's market where the buyer has control. So how's the market usually does follow with the question, well, are we in a bubble? And the answer is no, based on lending institution, based on inventory, and bottom line for Austin, it's the coolest place to come to. I mean, you've got international buyers coming here because you have the Formula One racing, you have, of course, entire Tesla organization is moving here, Apple, Amazon, Samsung's coming in, possibly into Taylor. There's a lot of, and what's creating these big companies coming here to Austin is the tax structure. We have a very favorable tax base here for companies to move here versus where some of these other West Coast communities where they're moving from don't. People always try to time the market, and that's always very challenging to do, to time the market. And am I buying it? Is it too high in the market? Should I wait for the market to come down? The market's not going to come down in Austin right now. So one of the things to take advantage of is in timing the market is at this time, November, December, there tends to be less buyers in the market, so there's less competition. The second thing is your interest rates are still pretty competitive. They haven't jumped up, and so you can still get pretty competitive interest rates. So the ideal situation is, hey, jump into the market now before there's too much competition, before the interest rates go up another point, because another point could really change your buying power. So it's from 2.75 to 3.5 or even 3.25. That really changes your buying power and what you can afford. You're either waiting and you're going to buy less home for more money because the interest rates are going to go, or you're going to jump in the market now while the market has corrected itself a little bit and there's less competition, and go ahead and take advantage of low rates.
Is it a good time to jump into the market?
The answer is yes. Jump in.
Jump in now.
Jump in now.
Yeah.
You're better now. Here's the thing. The question you got to ask is, are people still moving here to Austin? The answer is yes. In fact, we're just seeing the first wave. Because of Tesla and moving the entire organization, that's going to move a lot of companies here. Again, I've mentioned slightly a little bit about the international appeal for Austin as well. But jump into the market now. If you wait, you've got more buyers in the town. The prices are going to continue to rise, not at 30%, but they'll be consistently higher.
And winter, not such a bad time.
Winter's a great time. Like I said, you have less competition, and the rates are still competitively very low. And some of your most motivated sellers are on the market right now, because a lot of times you want to wait to the spring market because you get a higher price per square foot during the spring market. Well, the people who are selling right now, why are they selling is the question to ask. Well, because they're the most motivated to sell right now. They have to sell. They can't wait till the spring market. So in that situation, sometimes you get a better deal. Yeah.
Hudson Bend is probably one of the most real areas around here.
It's a holdout. It's the Austin keep it weird vibe holdout.
Here with Josh.
And we're here with Josh, proprietor, owner of
Infamous Brewing Company.
So what about the name? So Infamous. Why Infamous?
So Infamous. Originally, I was going to call it Hudson Bend Brewing Company, but it sounded like
that's so
Newman's
boring.
Own.
Come on,
like
man.
the salad dressing, Newman's Own or something.
Yeah.
But all of the beer names were less tasteful than the ones that we have now. So like Hijack was originally called All Over Your Face Cream Ale. Bugsy's was Texas Firebug. Infamy was called Ass Hammer. There were all of these colorful names. For the
Colorful,
beers.
yeah.
And so I decided that I wanted to kind of really follow the pattern of like infamous people, places, and things. I've got a big affinity for history, especially Prohibition, which was a very interesting time in America. And so you'll see a lot of our beers, named after Bugsy's or named after similar themed rum runners, bootleggers, smugglers, infamous people, places, and things.
Pretty good, man.
Come on by and pay us a visit. You guys won't regret it. It's an awesome place. We've got great bands, live music, food trucks, kid and dog friendly. We specialize in jackassery and shenanigans, my two favorite sports. So come on by. You'll definitely have a good time. And if you see me hanging around, come by and say hi. Make sure.
Cheers.
Cheers, y'all.
Good stuff, man.
Good, man.
Beer in a broker, beer in a broker.